Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Business Focus, your business-oriented discussion here on TV3. My name is Alfred Okanse, and tonight our focus is on the textile manufacturing industry here in Ghana. In the 1970s, at its zenith, the textile subsector dominated the manufacturing sector in Ghana with 16 textile manufacturers, which employed 25,000 people. The sad story of the textile industry now is that there are only 4 players about operating at different levels of activity, and they currently employ a mere 2,900 Ghanaians. I mean, if you do plus or minus situation, you have a 90% decline in its contribution to employment over a period of 50 years. Now, even surviving companies such as ATL, Textiles Ghana Limited, GTP, sponsoring all of what we're wearing in the Ghana month throughout the period, it's a clear situation that they are facing competition from cheap imported fake textiles. Now, we're going to be getting into that. This is not a new story to you, but why are we still faced with this problem, despite the interventions by previous governments and present as well? We'll talk about it as we go on the show. Then, the world of technology has been dominated by the talk of 5G. We'll be finding out exactly how Ghana is prepared for that next phase in mobile telephony. Also, we'll get you updates of the currency, the commodities, and the stock markets as well here on Business Focus tonight. Let's find out how the business world has been with the stories over the period. Well, so those were some of the stories that made headlines in the world of business over the period. So Ghana's mobile phone subscribers is set to hit 40 million by 2020. That's according to a report that was put out there by Jumia Annual Mobile Report 2018. Now, with such growth, it is projected that Ghana's mobile penetration is going to hit above 130% by 2020. Now, the report said factors that influence this growth is a rapid interest in social media, a general drop in smartphone prices, availability of easy payment platforms, and the growth in commerce and online retail platforms. Recall, government has an ambitious plan to digitize the economy, and so far putting the measures in place. Now, we want to have recall a chat that we had with the co-founder of M-Notify. He is our mover for this evening on Business Focus, Ronald Tagle, to find out from him whether Ghana is indeed prepared for the next phase of mobile telephony.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
Here at the Mobile World Congress 2018.
Okay, so first of all, a bit about M-Notify. So M-Notify is a communication as a service provider. So basically we do SMS marketing, mobile marketing, bulk voice broadcast. And so because of the line of business that we do, we have international partners that we work with. And I had to travel to come and meet some of them in person since we've had this email exchange back and forth. But beyond that as well, my motivation actually is to look for new ideas, new trends in the telecom space that I can also bring to Africa, and things that will transform Africa as a whole.
I see. So what have you seen here at the Mobile World Congress 2018?
Okay, I've seen a lot of innovative stuff. One is RCS. Trust me, RCS is something that will transform the face of messaging in the world. It's message. RCS? Yeah, it's actually message. Someone told me it's text message 2.0. So basically, it's an enhanced form of SMS texting. So now with RCS, it stands for Rich Communication Services. Now you know your traditional SMS, a bank sends you an alert, your balance is this. But what if you could do more than that? What if the bank could send you an alert? After sending you the alert, you can respond to that, and they send you a printout of your statement. What if, let me give you a typical scenario. Say Uber, you want to order for an Uber car, you send a text to Uber, Uber sends a reply, okay, give me your location. Then you send a location via multimedia messaging to Uber. You could send a picture of your location via SMS. Yeah, to Uber, then someone responds again. It's actually automated. So then now Uber responds, an automated response, okay, here's your location. A car will be in the next 5 minutes. Probably it's not too clear. Uber needs a physical landmark. You can take a picture of that via SMS. Again, so it's more of multimedia messaging fused with SMS to another level. It's like SMS on steroids, if I'll put it that way. So enhancing the capacity of SMS. But beyond that as well, a tool that I saw over here, mobile marketing tool that I saw over here, that was also quite innovative. Basically, you know, in Ghana, there's more of SMS marketing where you receive SMS alerts back and forth. But
get very annoying.
Yeah, some of them get very annoying. So even with RCS, what happens is that now the SMSs that you've not subscribed to, they automatically go into your spam, so you don't get to read them. You only get SMS from verified sources.
That would be good.
Yeah, so that's actually a game changer, and I'm looking forward to be one of the pioneers that would actually take this to Africa as well.
You know, what I'm seeing here a lot more is 5G. Everything is 5G.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, look, we're still getting used to 4G.
4G, that's very true.
What is 5G all about?
Okay, so 5G is the next level of 4G. 5G is taking 4G a notch further. Now it's one is speed, but beyond speed as well, you know, the next thing that 5G looks at is Internet of Things, that's IoT. So 4G is as though it's fast internet. In the Internet of Things space, 4G is not too fast. So they also need, that's why you saw the 5G car actually. So with the 5G is more of to support the Internet of Things era, where you can sync your car to your work environment to other things. So you can work from your car, you can start working from your car, you can sync your work environment at home to your work environment in the office. So that way, even if I don't go to work or I'm in traffic, I can still work and everything will still be in sync. So basically, yeah, that's the whole analogy of 5G.
I like your reference to
work, and there's a sync, there's a sync and a seamless connection between all your environments. So even when you work from office, immediately you get out of, when you work from your car, immediately you get to the office, it's as if you're actually in the office working. There wouldn't be that clear distinction as to what you have done so far and what you haven't done. You know the problem. I think it's possible that we can move over that, but the two main things that for me I think should change is one, the perception, then two, the infrastructure. Now, let me take infrastructure. Now, I like to move a lot around my card. But when I'm outside Ghana and I'm using my card, I'm more comfortable because I know that, okay, when I get to the ATM nearby, it will definitely work. When I use the POS device, it will definitely work. But when I'm in Ghana, even though I have my POS device and I have my ATM card, I always make sure that I have cash on me as well, because you might walk to the mall to purchase something and they'll tell you that, no, this POS device is down. You can't use Visa over here. No, we are not using this device here. This is not supported. For some of them as well, you see them with the device, but they push it aside and take cash. So I think it's a combination of perception and creating more awareness than in the infrastructure as well, because you can champion it and encourage everyone to go in for it. But then if the infrastructure isn't there, it would be quite difficult. And when I say infrastructure, I mean the networks, and it's everyone's job. For banks, those that issue out POS and cards and all that, it's everyone's job, as well as government as well.
Government is very heavy on technology, digitizing the economy. So we've seen paperless ports, we've seen the national ID system they intend to deploy, and a few other interventions. You are a player in that industry. What do you expect government to do, especially when we do know that the infrastructure is not really in place?
Yeah, I think personally, I think so far they've started on a good note. I know for now that companies and startups and tech startups, when they register their businesses, the first 2 to 3 years they get tax cuts. So that I think is a good initiative to encourage people like myself, more people like myself. Beyond that as well, I think if they can speak from my perspective as a value-added service provider in Ghana, I think the number one barrier or the number one challenge that we face in our industry has to do with the telcos or the operators. So if they could probably get a way to have regulations sort of to put the telcos in check, because trust me, for businesses like ourselves, majority of the monies that comes in goes to the telcos, and you always have to fight with them. If they need to do stuff for you, it's always hectic going to the networks. I wouldn't like to mention any name, obviously, but I think if there could be regulations around the telco operations in terms of how they deal with value-added service providers and communication companies like myself, would really help in our space. So I actually started while I was on the campus. A student, yeah.
So so you've been in commercial business.
Yeah.
For that period. How's it been?
It's not been easy. One, because probably I'm young, so you know there are certain doors that, because of the mindset of our people, you have to be a little bit older to open. But it's not been easy.
They don't believe
exactly.
A young man,
a Ghanaian can do some of the things I'm doing. Yeah.
A young man or woman out there.
Exactly, and that is why I like the environment over. You know, over here I've spoken with a lot of CEOs of big companies, and they are open to ideas. Yeah, that's very true. It would amaze you, trust me. And there are big names out there as well. So I think basically in Ghana our major challenge is the mindset, and if there could be more education, if it can be infused in our educational system to let people know that entrepreneurship is the way forward, it would really help a lot. And if those in high positions as well could give shots to young ones like myself and people even below me, it would really help, because trust me, there are a lot of people, young guys who have very brilliant ideas, who have solutions that will transform Africa. But the thing is, we like to do things the old way, so we didn't like to try something new. But I believe that the future is for us, with the young ones. I think the future is bright only if there are structures in place. So when I say structures, the ease of doing business, there's the ease of starting a business. I think currently it's now quite easy to start your own tech business, but starting the business is one thing, continuing the business is also another thing. So I think if there could be structures in place to make it easier to do business in Ghana, to run your business in Ghana. When I say putting structures in place, if it's easier to give young guys government contracts, of course there's a bidding process and make sure that the due diligence is done. But if they are given a shot at it, I think it would help a lot. If there's regulation on the telco level as well, the things that you can do with them, if they can open up a bit to young companies as well would help. Some of these places, when you approach them, they would redirect you to another third party, which also increases your cost of operations, because if I can do it with you directly, it will be cheaper. But if I have to go through another person to get to you, then I have to pay that person and pay you as well, which in the end increases my...
Okay, so that's a very, very revealing discussion I had with Ronald Tego. He's a co-founder of mNotify, is a mover for this evening, a very young man who is enterprising in that regard. I had that chat with him on the sidelines of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Spain, a couple of weeks ago there, talking about government cash-light economy objective, digitizing the economy. The mobile phone obviously plays a role in there. And on the back of this report that Ghana's mobile phone subscribers to hit 40 million by 2020 was worth we having this. But back shortly after this quick break, getting to the textile industry and matters arising. Do stay. You're welcome back to Business Focus here on TV3. Now, with the high cost of import duties and the high volumes of cheap imported goods from China, the stage is set for the demise of government's agenda to promote made-in-Ghana goods, especially the production of textiles. Now, textile traders at Makola Market are using 90% of their capital to import foreign-made textile materials from China to augment local demand, while locally manufactured textile materials are not being promoted, especially in this month where we're all talking about, patronizing made-in-Ghana goods and made-in-Ghana wear. Etonam Say visited the Makola Market and come through with this report.
It's 1 p.m. Monday afternoon, and business is booming for traders in African textiles here at Makola Market. Patrons walk in to make their selections, but sadly, almost everyone is buying the imported African prints.
I wanted to buy GTP, but the China one is cheaper.
The worrying trend of the influx of cheap foreign-made African textiles appears to be deepening the woes of the textile industry in Ghana.
So I'm in one of such shops here at Makola Market, and on display are various African prints. What I hold here is made in China, high target they call it, and what I have here on my chest is GTP made in Ghana. The GTP is going for 75 Ghana cedis, and this is 45 Ghana cedis, almost half the price. But on display, you don't see the difference.
Piracy is the industry's largest threat. The woes of the industry started in the early 2000s, when original designs made by Ghanaian textile companies were stolen, pirated, and reproduced cheaply in China.
China, the government is helping them because of the export. They have most of the things free, especially something like steam.
Mama Wu has been in the textile business for only 4 months, but she can attest to the overwhelming crave of customers for imported African textiles from China.
For business, if you want people to buy more, so if they go for the high target, that's fine.
Textiles made in Ghana by GTP are reputed to be of superior quality and cannot be matched anywhere in the world.
When you look at the GTP, the texture is soft, and the quality is much better because you can also wash it. It's not going to fade as much as the high target.
These women prefer to stock more of the China-made textiles because they claim it is more profitable. E.T. Kennedy is a former employee of GTP Textiles. Having worked with the company for 42 years, he attempts to explain the high cost of locally manufactured textiles.
They try to maintain the standards, and the standards come with a cost. The grey baths, chemicals, the dye stocks and whatnot, they are imported. After you've gone through your cost, you have to add the VAT to it. But these who import these things, they don't pay VAT.
Ghana's textile industry, which used to employ over 25,000 people, has declined in production since 2005. There has been massive layoff of workers, and indigenous Ghanaian textile producing industries cannot make their mark on the markets due to the importation of cheap Chinese textiles. Currently, the industry employs a little over 2,000 workers and is near collapse. As Ghanaians are encouraged to patronize made-in-Ghana products this month of March and beyond, it is unclear whether Ghanaians will have the financial muscle to afford locally manufactured textile products. Etonamse, TV3.
You see, and Etonam paints the picture as it is there at the Makola market. And that's not the only market that's facing this. Abraham Kumsen is General Secretary, Ghana Textile Leather Workers Union. He joins me in studio. So Kumsen, thank you very much for your time. Good evening to you. And also Emmanuel Nana Opoku Echampon is the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA. Echampon, thank you. Good evening to you for your time. See, let me start off with you, Mr. Kumsen. We know the problem. This is not the first time we're having a discussion on this matter. Why are we not doing what we have to do to clamp down on this problem? Because we know what it is costing us. It used to employ 56,000 people. Now it employs just 2,900. And the over 90% decline in production. Why? Why aren't we doing what we have to do?
I wish you could call the Minister of Trade.
Well, let me say that we extended an invitation to the Trade Ministry. We haven't heard anything as yet.
Yes, the commitment is not there. They just don't want to solve the problem, because if they are talking about one district, one factory and all that, how do you actualize this policy? You see, like, these women are saying, the fabrics that we produce here, in terms of quality, China cannot match us. They can't. They may produce their own designs, but we Africans like fufu.
Nobody can make fufu better.
If you want to make fufu in China, are you saying that they cannot match the fufu that we make here? And these are our own designs. And we know what we put into it to get this fabric or design. You see, and they managed to copy, exact copy, except that the fabric or the texture,
the quality of the texture will
betray them. And also in terms of costing, here in Ghana, the cost of production is the problem.
So the cost of production is high.
It is too high. So people complain about, your product, yes, they are nice, but they are too expensive. And what was shown there? The designs almost the same.
Oh, you bought some?
I brought some.
So this one is original GTP?
They are fake.
Yeah. This is fake?
Fake. They're fake.
Yeah, I want the camera to just zoom in into this.
It
has the GTP label there.
They are fake.
The stickers, the label,
yes,
printed in Ghana.
Everything.
With the batch number as well.
Everything. Fake.
6 years.
The only difference,
it's fake.
The only difference will be the prices. This will sell about half the price.
So all this is fake?
Fake. They're all fake.
No, this one too has GTP as well on it.
Yes. This one, Vrisco. Vrisco is GTP. And they are able to do from Holland.
Okay.
To do all this fake. The only difference will be that the price is cheaper.
So let's have a look at this on the cameras now. So all of this is fake.
They are fake.
This is fake.
Everything,
that is fake.
Everything is fake. They are fake. Fake ones.
But they have the GTP guaranteed
everything.
Real wax.
Exactly.
Block prints.
With standard
authority batch numbers.
Everything is there. Everything is there.
So
it says very cheap. You see, the problem we have is that if what we want now, we want to produce at a cost that will be affordable here. And so we wish that government removes the VAT, because we have even health insurance. Health insurance is a factor that also, is put on the cost. Health insurance, 2.5.
It's put on the cost.
They cost something, EDIF. They cost so many taxes. So sometimes the customers, we pity them, because when they come and they complain about the price is too high. You can't blame them.
So essentially, Mr. Champon, the only attraction that consumers, from what Mr. Kumsin is saying, have for these fake textiles is not because of the quality, but the cost. You know, so it's all about affordability, which is the major influencer in their decision to go in for the fake textile. Not so much that it's of quality, but it's affordability. What can we do about this?
You see, this problem, you know, has gone on for too far. I think it's about time we call a spade a spade. Sincerely speaking, from where I'm coming from, I would not say what these traders are doing is good. It's not. You see, we lost the pride of being Ghanaians when politicians began by stealing from us.
How do you mean?
I mean, if leaders are actually leading by good example, I tell you, all these problems, the euphoria of putting a Ghanaian first, okay, at the forefront of all these things can work. But this is the situation whereby people think they are being maligned and cheated by politicians. So at the end of the day, they also have a simple way of surviving.
No, you're not. I need clarity. Exactly what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is, if you weigh the two sides, it's not the woman's fault.
You mean the traders in
Yes.
these fake textiles?
Yes, because if government were to resource the companies and see to it that they are working to capacity, I tell you, what am I wearing right now?
You're wearing a smock.
A smock, because I'm proud being a Ghanaian. So it is not too late. Let government sit down, have a proper roadmap drawn to solve this problem once and for all. Because I tell you, like you said, affordability. If you put this thing there, a Ghanaian thinking of tomorrow, you know the poverty lines in the country is too high. So what will, you know, prevent me not to go in for the cheaper textile? Are you getting me?
I get the point. Mr. Kumsin, let me come back to you. So government is encouraging people, in fact, here at TV3, we've declared this whole month of March as a Made in Ghana month. We're all wearing it, proudly sponsored by GTP. And you're showing me this, that this is even fake. Now, governments gone by and present have tried to intervene with either tax force or some other intervention. What's the status of the tax force that was set up to clamp down on these fake textiles on the Ghanaian market? Is it even working?
The political will is not there. You see, when you want power and you campaign with, oh, when we come, we won't allow the task force to work again. Nobody will come to the market to come and arrest you. And the women organize and vote for you. And you take power. What will you do? Because I as I sit here, have fought with these ministry people.
You mean the Minister of Trade?
The Minister of Trade, the minister himself, his deputies, the two deputies, the chief directors. I'm tired. And it appears that they know.
They know about
because,
the problem.
for instance, how do you form a task force and you restrict their operations to the borders? Don't go to the point of sales. Don't step there.
They should rather go to the point of entry.
Where entry are we soldiers or policemen or immigration or what? The other service.
But what was the logic behind that? I mean,
it doesn't make sense, because the thing is that an employer who has deployed his workers, some of his workers have volunteered to help because they are losing their jobs.
Absolutely.
So the employer said, okay, can you do this work? Let us, chase these people who are into this smuggling and counterfeiting and all that. Then you the minister, you are saying that, no, don't go to the point of sales where they are bringing the goods. Go to the border. You cannot understand. It doesn't make sense. They know that this is the place that the goods are being sent to, the warehouse. We know. Sometimes we track them.
And you tell the ministry?
They are aware. I wish we could get the minister himself or any of his deputies to talk, or the chief director. So go to them with your cameras, focus on them and let them talk. Why are they refusing to allow the task force to operate? Why?
The trade ministry is refusing.
They are refusing. Look, last year, October, we put pressure on them, the union. Finally, we even have to picket at the ministry before they, agreed, okay, we are going to constitute the task force. So we had to withdraw and go back. The following day, the task force was inaugurated with the mandate to operate only at the borders. Go to Afro, go to Elubu, go to Paga. Don't go to the warehouses. What does it make sense? Doesn't make sense. They are all tips. They are part of this problem that the industry. Okay, but no. I'm not saying it's a fact. They should take me to court.
No,
I will go and defend myself.
Mr. Gumzin, I can understand how passionate you are about this.
My frustration.
Hold on a minute.
We are frustrated.
Please.
It's too much.
I understand you, but to actually go to the extremes and calling them thieves, you have to substitute. So just for the sake of the respect of this platform,
for the respect of your platform,
you withdraw that.
A thief is a thief when he is proven guilty at the court.
So you withdraw that.
Yes, but very soon we prove them guilty.
You have evidence to that effect.
We have evidence.
In fact, if the court of law would be very appropriate a place.
We'll send them there. But they will not even allow you to go to where you can arrest them. That's the problem that we have. Meanwhile, I'm coming. You see, if you are, preaching one district, one factory, how are you going to implement this very beautiful, very nice policy? Because even if it is poultry, and you are encouraging the poultry farmers to expand, to grow, employ people, then you allow this dead chicken, to be coming. The dead chicken coming, and if you want to organize a party, you get just one crate, very cheap, and who will go to the farm to go and buy the farm? So you see, they must sit down and really analyze the situation. They know, not that even they know what they are doing. That's why I'm saying that people should be sent to court for them. Very soon we'll go to the special prosecutor.
You're going to go to the special prosecutor?
Yes, to direct his attention to where they have to, deal with it. Otherwise, look, the industry will collapse. I'm telling you, as I speak, I won't be surprised if by tomorrow letters start coming from the employers that enough is enough. We cannot sustain our business.
I see. Mr. Gumzin, you see, this is a very critical situation and as we're confronted with, because we cannot pretend like ostriches and bury our heads in the sand and pretend as if we don't know what's going on. Okay, so Mr. Jampong, there have been a number of interventions. For me, the story of the textile industry has been told over the period. The dwindling fortunes is staring us in the face. What do you expect of government? Because I know you just came out from a crunch meeting with the finance ministry.
Let me first by saying that actually I'm not speaking on behalf of government, but what I have witnessed from a meeting we had with Carol Sahinkra, that is Honorable, the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. In fact, he made mention of this at our meeting where the man was so furious of this canker.
Of what? Of fake textiles?
Yeah, of the fake textiles in the market.
Mr. Chapon, you see, if you're angry about the situation as a minister, you have the power to correct what is getting you angry. So what has been done? For me, that's the most important thing.
From what he said to Guta, that we should try as much as possible to educate our women to desist from this act.
But you see, let me say this, Mr. Jampong. The women out there, just as you said, you said it earlier that you don't blame them.
If you give me the chance, I just want to underscore what the minister said, that in other way, they are thinking of the situation. It's not just that they've left it unattended to. But let us sit down as Ghanaians. You see, I've been to China for so many times in my quest doing business. Look, what I've seen there is that the government is ready and ever ready to support what it's termed the piloting. But look, I have witnessed a situation whereby Gucci, the original brand of Gucci, is chasing people in China from one market to another market.
So the companies have been empowered by the government to go after the people who are pirating their products.
Yes, the originators come there, seek.
Okay. So I'm interested in the way forward. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
What
I'm thinking is, I think government should come in, holistically come up with a very. It has been so long. It's about time, like I said over there when I just where I'm coming from. It's about time we call a spade, and then also find ways to make sure our companies work to capacity.
Thank you. Mr. Gomsen, this is a government that is really, I mean, the president wears these traditional wears everywhere he goes. And so if there's a commitment, you have it. What are you expecting to be done? Because the hypocrisy you have painted is quite worrying. What has to be done?
Unfortunately, the president is not being helped by some of his ministers, because you could see he's promoting our fabric like you are doing, but those ministers who are supposed to help him, they are not doing it.
What do you mean?
Yes, because if the president is wearing African print, which I know is made by
in Ghana, you can call it Ghanaian prints.
What message is he sending across? So the minister, if he doesn't know, the minister should go to find out from the president. Your Excellency, this fabric, is it from China or is it from Ghana? And I know that GTP has been supplying the presidency. And so it's not even necessary for the minister to go. They know, because they have even been also getting this thing from the local factories. Then we have told you that some people are making it difficult for us to sell our products because of the cost. And they know that it is because of this counterfeiting, this smuggling, and all that.
Right.
Now, one more point, please.
Finally.
What we are asking for is that the taxes are too many.
Okay.
Because otherwise we can't sell. If you go to the market, they have taken about 80 to 85% of the market share. That is the counterfeit. So what are you waiting for? It is making the work of even Guta very difficult, because even those who import.
How many people does the industry employ now? The textile industry, the manufacturing
industry? More than 2,000.
Not more than
2,000. From 25,000 up to this. So what is it? How do you create jobs? Last week we had a meeting. Unfortunately, last week we had a meeting with one of the textile companies. Government said they shouldn't lay anybody off. Nobody should go home. I said, how do you pay them if nobody should go? Because it will defeat the policy of one factory,
one district.
They shouldn't go home. How are you going to pay them?
Critical question there. Mr. Gomsen, this conversation is not ending now, because we have a whole period to look at this. But I want to thank you so much. You've set a good tone for a very meaningful conversation on this.
Let's come back again.
Fantastic. We will
buy the airtime. Give us 2 hours. Then
we'll look at that. We'll look at that.
We'll pay for it.
Thank you. We'll consider that. Abraham Kumsen is General Secretary of the Ghana Textile Leather Workers Union, and also Emmanuel Nana Opoku Champon is the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA. We're back shortly. after this quick break, where the stocks, the commodities, and the currency markets. Details. Oh, welcome back to Business Focus. Now, Edinam Nachefe is an analyst with First Bank. Joins me in studio. Edinam, thank you so much, as always, for being here. You bring a smile on the Monday evening. Thank you so much. Now, Ghana's 91-day bail yield steady at 13.34%. Now, that saw more of unchanged percentage point there. Can you explain to us what the situation is with the T-bill rates, please?
Okay, so since the beginning of the year, we've seen the 91-day T-bill. We've seen the rates coming at about 13%. Last week it was 13.35, and this week it declined marginally to 13.34. For this year, we're expecting rates to decline, and this is largely going to be supported by the inflation rate. And with government's end-year target of 8.9, as inflation declines, we are likely to see a fall in the 91-day bill rate. Yeah.
I see. And this would continue, that pattern of decline?
Yes, we expect it to continue. It's going to be supported by a decline in inflation.
I see. Let's go on to the commodities markets as well. How are the commodities faring? Go to gold, let's look at oil, let's look at cocoa.
Okay. So for Brent and gold, we saw very marginal declines last week. We saw Brent close the week at about a little above $65 per barrel, and this was as a result of the increased shale production. The U.S. shale is pumping in so many barrels of oil, and for the last 7 out of 8 weeks, they've added more oil rigs, yes, which are indicative of increases in production in the future. Which
was probably forcing a decline in
a decline in price. Yes, right now we are seeing supply pressure, and it's likely that the supply will even outweigh the demand, the rate at which demand was expected to grow. So we are likely to see a fall in prices. But for the U.S. shale, what it is it costs them more to produce than other countries in terms of costs. So for them to be encouraged to produce extra, we need to see prices sustained a little above $60. Yes, so once prices start declining, we're likely to see some of them pull back. Just so the prices will rise. Yes, so we don't expect to see a very steep dip, a very steep fall in oil prices.
I see. But I mean, the U.S. is resolute on pumping up its production levels, and so that reaction from some OPEC, country member states is inevitable, is it? I mean, all other things being equal, should the pattern continue this way?
Right now, OPEC, they are going to meet in June, and we are yet to see whether they will decide to continue with their cuts. If they also come in and say we're going to increase, then we are going to have the glut again, and then we'll see the U.S. fall back. Yeah, so right now, for OPEC, we are likely to see them continue with the cuts because they want to sustain higher prices.
I see. Let's go with the currency as well. How's the cedi faring against the major trading currencies now?
So against the dollar, the cedi is still maintaining its own, and it's still not as a result of the strength of the cedi, but because of the weakness in the dollar. We're seeing other African markets also like the Naira, we're seeing the CFA, we're also seeing the South African Rand also ride on the weakness of the dollar. Against the pound and the euro, we are seeing more rapid depreciation against, yes, those currencies.
I see. Now, let's go on to the stock market just finally before we go. What are the stocks that are performing well or that perform well under the week under review, and what are your projections into the coming week?
Okay, so last year we saw, for the large cap stocks, we saw stocks like Ghana Commercial Bank and Standard Chartered Bank record gains, which offset some of the declines. On the whole, we saw a decline in the market return, which was marginal compared to previous weeks where we've seen declines. So we saw Ghana Commercial Bank and Standard Chartered Bank record gains. On the whole, we still saw financial stocks even drive the index down. We saw stocks like Ecobank Ghana, Ecobank Transactional, and Cowbank record some gains and some losses, which was what pulled the market return down.
Edinam, thank you for your time as always, and have a great evening. Edinam Nachefe is an analyst with First Bank, giving us the stocks, the commodities, and the currency market details. Well, that's it for Business Focus tonight here on TV3. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you. And stay with us as we get into News 360. Have a good evening.